Hello. Welcome to Handmade by Julia Quinn. Tracy did a lovely job. I really felt for her, poor thing, her paper being naughty and not doing what she wanted it to do. But I'm looking forward to seeing what she shares at the end of our videos today. She's going to be our bookend, and we love her for doing that for us. Here's my two. I'm going to do my two standard cards to start off with, but just before I started, I wanted to say this stamp set is very rare. I use every single stamp out of a stamp set, but I have. So I have to say it's been a real pleasure to work with this suite with the lovely dies and this lovely mini corrugated embossing folder. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I don't usually do frame dies very much, but I've had a ton of fun with this. All right, I'm going to start with my first card, which is a very simple card, all white. I love all white. I'm a huge fan. And with this card, you can use whatever colour you want to use. I used, for this one, I think I used Summer Splash. And then when I was making the decision this morning about what colour to use, I went for Pecan Pie, and then I thought maybe I should do Shaded Spruce because I'm a green girl. So I ended up deciding on Shaded Spruce, but I was keen to see what Pecan Pie would look like. So I might change my mind again. And then the other card I've got to show you just after that is this one featuring the lovely Designer Series paper. Okay, and I've chosen to do my version this time in Summer Shy Shamrock. So two green cards. That's decided it for me. Maybe I should do Pecan Pie rather than the Shaded Spruce for this one. Okay, pop you to the side. This card is actually rather fun, and for those who've bought the tutorial for this stamp camp this weekend, you'll see all of the instructions in the tutorial and the measurements for your cardstock. But basically you use your normal width of cardstock and chop off a bit and score some to create a lovely little split front there that goes like that. And then I have embossed my two pieces, once again all white cardstock, and then with the magic of these amazing dies, the label dies, I've got one on the front and one on the inside, so it's pretty easy peasy Japanesey, I have to say. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, with my Pecan Pie, ink up this lovely stamp. The beautiful flowing leaves on this image I really enjoy. So I'm going to stamp it once and then twist it and stamp it again before inking it up to get that lovely shadowed effect behind me there. I'll just clean that off, and I'm also using the basket weave stamp, and just put that down here. That's pretty easy. Isn't that gorgeous? That lovely textural element of that. And then I should have another, here it is, another little die cut ready for You Are Seriously the Best. Now, how many people can you give that lovely greeting to? You are seriously the best. Okay, lining her up and far away. Oh, thank you, God. I'm always praying a lot when I stamp because there's always lots to say thank you for. Okay, and on the inside, I'm going to use that lovely basket weave again, down here. And this, I think, is a gorgeous stamp, this lovely little leaf. And we don't want to cover up too much of this image because this is where we're going to write our greeting. And I am a person who likes to decorate the insides of my cards a lot because I never know what to say. So I like to leave just enough room to say, to you, love, Julia. Okay, now I need to get, while I've got my ink pad out, I've already embossed them with the corrugated embossing folder. Isn't that cool? And just need to get another blending brush. I changed my mind at the last minute and didn't have my brown blending brush, so just adding some Lovely pecan pie. This is a beautiful colour. So beautiful. Look at that. Emboss, running your blending brush and ink over embossed images really makes it jump out, stamp out. So I love to do that little effect, and it's super easy to do. Super easy to do. So I want this to be a little bit sort of rustic looking, so I'm going to do a bit extra. There we go. Look at that. Oh, pecan pie, you win. Now, before I do anything else, I'm just going to use my trusty old damask dinner napkin to wipe my surface there. Okay, now let's put our card together. Got my card base here. So here's the inside. So I'll stick that one on first. Sorry, I'm reaching everywhere looking for my glue. And that one goes on there. Oh, no it doesn't. Hold, please. I'm going to... Lucky I looked at my example. This is why I always need to have an example on hand. Just going to tuck that under. There. Hopefully without creating too much havoc. There and there. There. Ooh. Always good to know what you're doing before you actually do it. There we go. And I've got extra glue. Yuck. Today it is absolutely pouring here. Pouring rain. So there's a lot of humidity in the air. Things are very sticky. It just hasn't stopped for days, and it's worse further north in Queensland. So it's very humid, very sticky. There we go. Okay, so that's my inside done. Now my front, before I do anything else, I've got to work out which is which. That one goes there. Now, I find I like to use seal, as you know. So I find using my seal on the corrugated does things to it because of the pressure I apply. So I'm putting my adhesive on my destination. There we go. I love that effect. And a bit more here. Making sure I don't go right to the edges because I'm leaving a little border. There we go. Now, I'm going to line these two up perfectly. And look at my example, Julia, before you do anything else. And then just use my adhesive at the top and the bottom. Okay, lining up again. Lining you up. Right there. Have I got this in the shot? I always forget and go a little bit too close to me. And then line that up, covering up the one underneath. And centering. There we go. Okay, and then for the front, I'm adding a little bit more of this lovely ribbon, which goes with every colour because it's white. And my greeting there. Oops. Put a little bit of seal across there. Stick you on. Now I'm sticking you on towards the bottom because I'm going to cover up the top with my greeting, which is going to be stuck on with dimensionals. You'd think I'd be a bit more prepared, wouldn't you? I just sat and watched Tracy instead of getting ready. I was enjoying what she was creating. There we go. And 2 and 3. And then the joy of using pecan pie for my project is that our dots have a pecan pie one that I can use. Okay. You are seriously the best. Look at that. I love that with the pecan pie. And then I've got my dots here. And I'm going to add pecan pie dots to pick up on 1, 2, and oops, 1 there, there we go. There's my first card done. So that's the comparison between the Summer Splash and the Pecan Pie. Love doing a white card with just one colour. There we go, that's my first card. Now my second card, I'm being all brave this time and changing up the colours of my cards. This one here I used Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to use Shy Shamrock for this one. So basically the only colour is on the cardstock until you add ink. Alright, now that's scrap. I've already done my die cutting, so this is my piece for the front. This is my piece for the inside. This is the piece for the front, and that's the piece for the front. There's a lot of little layers on this one, and that's my piece for stamping. This is my piece for the front. That one goes on there. This is the piece for inside. And then that's for my greeting. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to stamp this lovely big floating leaf again in Memento Black here. There we go. I probably should have done that before so you didn't have to watch me fussy cutting. Oops. And oh, while I've got that out, I'll stamp my greeting. You are seriously the best again. Okay. And lining that up. Stamp. I really like that saying. I actually do. And I've got my Shy Shamrock markers here, light and dark. I'll use the light one first and just add a little bit of colour to these leaves at the top, just in the ones that are open and don't have any colour on them, leaving the black ones as they are. And that one there, and that one there. And then I'm also going to pick out a couple of leaves on my paper to colour. Just spotlight a couple. Not all, although you could if you wanted to. And I'm hoping that I've chosen one that will still show up when I put the leaf over the top, actually, because I just chose a random bit of paper there. And using my dark to come in, add a bit of shading at the bottom of each of those leaves. And a little bit here along the seams. My precision colouring, as always, all out of the lines, but you know what? It's not really a big issue because some of that's going to be covered up. Okay, I do have to cut this out. I wonder if you can hear the rain. It's so loud, I can barely hear myself talking, so I hope it's loud enough for you. How am I going for time? I'm going okay. After me will be Sharon with her beautiful projects, and then I'll come back on again after Sharon, and then she'll come back on, and then Tracy will finish off for us and do the closing with all of the wonderful housekeeping. Okay, and almost there. It's rather therapeutic just sitting and cutting. The tips with fussy cutting is that you move the paper. Keep your scissors and your wrist quite still and just move the paper around, okay? That looks after you. Now, do I have to do some stamping for inside? Yes, I do. Oops. Should have done that before I cleaned off my stamp. I do need a bit of scratch paper underneath, I think, because I'm going to stamp off the edges again so that it just looks pretty. Okay, one there. And one there. There we go. Let's clean clean off my stamp. I have to do that because I'm a bit of a messy. There we go. And then use the markers to colour in my leaves again, just to continue that lovely black and white with a pop of colour theme. If ever you're not sure of what colour to make a card, that's a good default to go black and white with a pop of colour. So, well, I did white with one other colour, or here's a variation, black and white. If you have black ink, that way with this stamp set you can use your black ink and you can make any colour cards to coordinate with what you're doing. Okay, there we go. So now it's basically assembly. So pop this one. Now in the cutting measurements, each of the black pieces are only a tiny bit bigger than the die cut frame. Okay, so they're very close. If you like a bigger border, just add a couple more centimeters. Okay, there we go. It's just to highlight that, make it stand out a little bit. All right, now pop this one. All we've got on this one is the lovely frame to show off, and I'm going to remember this time, add my ribbon. There you go. Tie you around here, just loosely, no adhesive at the front, just at the back, and then anchor it again with a bit more adhesive, and then stick that one. I've got a feeling I used dimensionals on my original. Okay, and I'm just going to tie, so the reason why I leave it loose is so that I can come back in with my ribbon, slip it underneath and tie a little knot. If you are not a bow person, this is a great way to go, just tying a little knot. Okay, and now I've got this one, oops, onto my black layer. I will put this one on dimensionals, which I don't know where I put them. I put them somewhere. I'll have to get some more. I can use my black dimensionals today because I've got black cardstock. There we go. The good thing about black dimensionals is you can see easily when you've taken the backings off them because they've got white backings. All right, pop that in the center there. And all of these rectangles and these dies line up really beautifully. A few more dimensionals on this guy. And I've coloured that one there, so I'm going to go this way this time. And my seriously the best greeting on there. And we're almost done. You are seriously the best. And then the last thing is, I found my dimensionals, they were underneath the dots. Black dots. So they will show up a lot more on this card than my previous card actually. But they go with everything as well. On there, I like to put them in little clusters so they look like they sort of belong. Oops, you didn't stick. There we go. So there are my two standard cards in two different colorways for each of them. Okay, so this one in Shy Shamrock and Daffodil Delight. Let me know which one you like. And this one in Summer Splash and Pecan Pie. There we go. Thank you. You've got a little 9-minute break, and then Sharon will be up to inspire you even more with more amazingness featuring this amazing Textured Notes suite. See you soon. Bye.